So a couple weeks ago, I uploaded a full first round mock draft, and you guys absolutely love that video because I think you guys want to see your teams select in my mock draft. So we're doing another first round mock here today as the NBA season is wrapping up. So this is pretty much my end of the regular season NBA mock draft. I will be recording this though on May 9th. I am going away from the 10th to the 16th. Therefore, you guys will probably be seeing this on like the 15th or maybe the 16th, but you guys will be, I'm recording this on the 9th. So we're doing this with the accurate NBA standings at the moment. So the Houston Rockets at the first overall pick. Also, if you guys enjoy my mock draft videos, drop a thumbs up and I'll know to do one maybe after the playoffs end. Because I kind of like to do them after like significant moments happen, like after the trade deadline or after March Madness or after the regular season ends like this. So yeah, let's start this full first round mock draft here. The Rockets have the worst record in the NBA at the moment I'm recording this, and I think even though they have a point guard that they're paying $40 million to, they're still going to take Cade Cunningham no matter what with the number one overall pick. I think any team that gets number one, even Minnesota, any team like the Warriors, well, actually they can't because Minnesota's pick would convey. But I digress. Any team gets the number one pick, it's going to be Cade Cunningham, I think, no matter who gets that pick. I don't care if you have 3 franchise point guards, you make it work. Cade can play maybe the 2 or the 3 defensively. So at number 2, I think Detroit, this would also be a consensus pick here. Evan Mobley, they get their center for the future. They already have maybe their combo guard in Killian Hayes as their kind of franchise guy. Maybe they do take Jalen Suggs here because they think they like Suggs a little bit more than Mobley, but I think getting a generational center who can pass, defend, and potentially shoot at the NBA level is so valuable, and you have to take that with the second overall pick. And I know you drafted a center with Isaiah Stewart last year, but Evan Mobley is 20 times the prospect, maybe 100 times the prospect Isaiah Stewart was, and you go with him for the future. On the clock here at 3 for the Timberwolves, I kind of like Jalen Green for them, just because, I don't know, it's tough. It really is. I do like Jalen Green a little bit, but I think that they would take Jalen Suggs, make him the primary ball handler, and then make D'Lo and Anthony Edwards off-ball guys, which they can be. Anthony Edwards a little bit more, I would say, than D'Lo, and I think you go best player available here. Well, actually, yeah, they would get to keep their pick if they fall to 3. So lucky Minnesota and lucky Houston with their current standings. But hey, with the lottery, I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't think it's going to be as friendly to them as just like if it was like an NFL draft and it's just the regular season standings. So I'm going to have Jalen Suggs go 3 to Minnesota. I think they make it work with D'Lo, Edwards, and Suggs. That means number 4, Jalen Green. He's going to the OKC Thunder. They're going to have a Jalen Green, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander backcourt for the future. And I like Jalen Green a lot. He's my number 3 player still in this draft over Jalen Suggs. It goes Cade, Mobley, Green for me. And I think getting him, who I can view as just a multi-dimensional scorer at the pro level. And I think he could just score inside, outside, be a very efficient player in the NBA. And I got Jalen Green going number 4 to the Thunder. Pairing that backcourt. Shai, Jalen Green. Oh, I'm in love. I'm in love. So on the board here at 5, the Cavs. I think this is the perfect pick for them. If they're on the board at 5, they get their guy, Jonathan Kuminga. They don't have to be like, oh, we're going to leave Jalen Green or Jalen Suggs on the board when, like, they need kind of those wing, like those bigs and the wings. And like you can have an Okoro, Kuminga, Allen, 3, 4, 5. Hey, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good foundation there. You try to move Kevin Love, or maybe you have Kevin Love mentor Kuminga. I doubt he wants to do that. So either way though, Kuminga's the pick here. And then you can roll with the starting 5 going into the 2021 season with Sexland in the backcourt, 3, 4, 5 being Okoro, Jonathan Kuminga, Jared Allen. That's pretty good. I think you can roll with that. That's some foundation for your team. So on the clock here at 6, I think Orlando wouldn't really want to take a point guard, but there's not really a point guard that they want to take here. I mean, they could move up in the draft from the lottery, and then maybe they have to think about Suggs or possibly Cade if they get lucky. But I think they would go Keon Johnson here at 6. If it's not Keon Johnson, I think that they would go Scotty Barnes. But you know what? I'm actually going to talk myself into Scotty Barnes because I think he fits that team a little bit more. The backcourt is a little bit cluttered there, but he's kind of more of a 2 Keon Johnson. And you already kind of have, well, you already have RJ Hampton, you already have Cole Anthony, you already have Fultz, but those guys are more 1s than 2s, even though Hampton's maybe like a 2. But I think I would go Scotty Barnes there, and he would kind of be the 3. Isaac would be the 4, and wow, that would be so versatile on the defensive end. Those guys could switch all over, and on the offensive end, they're pretty good playmakers for their size. Ooh, I could get behind that, because you already have Bamba and Carter Jr. at the 5. You can have Isaac at the 4. Your 3s being Scotty Barnes and Chuma Okeke, and then you kind of have Hampton, Fultz, and Cole Anthony in your backcourt, and you're also going to get another potential lottery pick from the Chicago Bulls if they don't get lucky. Yeah, That's pretty good. That is pretty good. So nobody thought this, but the Raptors are picking 7. We all thought that they were going to be in the playoffs. I think that they can go somebody with a high upside potential, or they're going to try to be back in the playoffs next year. So maybe they're going to go for a more NBA ready player like a Davion Mitchell or like a Corey Kispert. But maybe they like just the high upside of Jalen Johnson as well. Like Kyle Lowry could be gone. I mean, they're going to have Fred VanVleet. They're going to have Malachi Flynn still there. They have OG Anunoby. They have Siakam. They have Boucher. I mean, they could just be a team that takes Alperen Sengun there. Like, that could just be a Masai Ujiri thing, you know? I do like Jalen Johnson a lot for them, and I think he would be, like, the consensus. Oh, but Keon Johnson's there. No, I don't think Keon Johnson... It's between Keon Johnson or Jalen Johnson. Either Johnson for me. It's just, who do I think that Toronto would go with? I don't know if they view... They view Malachi Flynn as their long-term point guard. Obviously, that could be VanVleet. And then you can kind of slide Keon Johnson there into the number 2 hole. So I'm going to give... Yeah, I'm going to... This is tough. This is really tough. This is the hardest one for me so far. You know what? I'm going to give them the high upside pick, or the higher upside pick, in my opinion, in Jalen Johnson to potentially be... I don't know, maybe that 3, and then you could bump Anunoby to the 2 on offense. I think they could roll with that. So on the board here at Magic, there's some good talent on the board here. Still, like in Davion Mitchell, and Franz Wagner, and Corey Kispert. But they're going to go Keon Johnson here. And oh boy, would I love this draft. If they're young core, the guys I mentioned before, and you're adding on Keon Johnson, yeah, the Magic will have one of the nicest younger cores in the NBA, adding on 2 first-round picks in 2023. That's a nice rebuild for the Orlando Magic. So on the clock here at 9, I would be a huge fan of Davion Mitchell to the Kings, but I think already having Fox, Hield, especially drafting Tyrese Haliburton last year, I don't think they take up guard. I think they go Franz Wagner here, kind of a guy that can be switchable on both the offense and defensive side of the ball, and somebody I think will get some lottery hype. If they were going to go him, maybe they like Alperen Sengun there, because that center hole long-term, we don't really know what it's going to be. Is Richaun Holmes the long-term answer there at the center position? Not really sure. I'm going to have them taking Franz Wagner with the 9th overall pick. And then finally with the top 10, 33% done with this first round, I'm going to have the New Orleans Pelicans select Corey Kispert out of Gonzaga, somebody that can provide spacing for Zion Williamson and a great shooter for that team. Mitchell is nice, but they're already going to have Bledsoe under contract. Maybe they re-sign Lonzo. I'm not sure at the moment. And they already used a lottery pick last year on a guard in Kyra Lewis. So I'm going to have them select Corey Kispert there out of Gonzaga. On the board here for the Pacers, easy pick for me. It's going to be Davion Mitchell, an NBA-ready player, a junior out of the national champion team, the Baylor Bears, who beat one of the best college teams in this century. And their best player was Davion Mitchell, somebody that's a good shooter, but he is a menace on the defensive side of the floor. He can learn from Malcolm Brogdon and maybe success him one day. And I love that pick for Indiana. I really think they should go out and get a Davion Mitchell, because I think they just mix so well together for that team. I do like Isaiah Jackson for the Wizards here at 12, but I'm going to have them take Alperen Sengun here. I'm sorry if I'm continuing to butcher his name, but he's kind of like a floor spacing center, and I think Thomas Bryant probably isn't the long-term answer there, and like Robin Lopez isn't coming back, or he might come back, but you could look for a better upgrade at the backup center, or at least a more promising backup center role, because he wouldn't start like right away at all. I kind of view him maybe as a Poku and somebody that needs a little bit of time to get ready, but we see the flashes from Poku, and maybe they wanted more NBA ready player, because I'm sure they want to contend with Beal and with Russell Westbrook. Who knows? Maybe Beal gets traded in the offseason. Probably not, though. But I'm going to have them take Alperen Sengun. On the clock here for the San Antonio Spurs at 13. A team that kind of has been contending or flirting with contention this year. Like contending and making the playoffs, not the NBA championship. But with losing, or not losing, but letting go of LaMarcus Aldridge at the buyout market. And I think DeMar DeRozan, he might come back, he might not. I think they could look for maybe a 3/4, but I like Isaiah Jackson a lot for them long term. They already have their backcourt kind of filled up with DeJounte Murray, Lonnie Walker, Derek White, ton of guys there. Keldon Johnson is definitely the next man in line at that small forward position. But at the 4, I don't know if Luka Šamanić is really the full answer. I think Isaiah Jackson could provide some long-term success for them there. So on the clock here at 14 for the Memphis Grizzlies, I think they got to go maybe some shooting. I like shooting a lot for them here at 14. And I think Cam Thomas, but there's somebody I like a little bit more than Cam Thomas, and that is James Bouknight out of UConn. You could maybe plug him in next to Ja Morant. You could have Ja Morant and James Bouknight in that backcourt, provide some spacing for that team. And I think they would have multiple options there at 14. They would have Cameron Thomas. They'd have Moses Moody. So I don't think the Grizzlies could go wrong with any of those options there at 14. So now we're out of the lottery onto Charlotte here at number 15. And I think like this could be the first reach of the draft, but I think Charlotte really could use a big with Cody Zeller being a free agent and also Bismack Biyombo. Charles Bassey's still on the board. I'm sure they would love to get maybe like an Alperen Sengun in there if he falls. I think they could go for an Usman Garuba. Or Kai Jones. This one is also tough. I think Isaiah Jackson would be an amazing pick for them here. I'm thinking they would go Usman Garuba. I've been hearing like the discrepancy in boards is a little bit noticeable. I think Garuba going a little bit higher in most boards, or just mocks than Kai Jones. And when you're looking at like the Athletic and ESPN, and those sites as well. So like in Draft Express. So I'm gonna have Usman Garuba going to the Hornets at 15, and then at 16, I'm gonna have the Celtics. I like big a lot for them, but they already have kind of a bunch of big men at the moment, and they could really assess that a bunch of other ways in this offseason. I think they could use for a playmaker off the bench, and there's a couple guys here, and I really like Josh Giddey for them out of Australia. I don't know if he falls to 16. He could be like a late, or yeah, like once the draft comes around, like a draft riser, and he's going to get a lot of top 10 hype. Kind of like, not Patrick Williams, but Patrick Williams got a lot of draft hype last year when we got closer to the NBA draft. He ended up going 4. I don't think Josh Giddey goes 4, but I think he could maybe slide into the top 12, and I think the Celtics would love to get another playmaker off the bench with the 16th overall pick. The Warriors at 17 here, I think they can go 2 different options. I think it's Moses Moody or Cam Thomas, and I like Moses Moody a little bit more, just a little bit more, out of Arkansas to give the Warriors some shooting. Yeah, they could maybe use another big off the bench, and Kai Jones maybe fits that role for them, but they used their first round pick last year on James Wiseman, we all know, and I think they would maybe go with a just more shooting and spacing for them off the bench, because they can never have enough spacing, you know? So let's get them Moses Moody with the 17th overall pick. On the clock here at 18, I like the Hawks also kind of going the shooting route, and I'm going to have them select Cam Thomas with the 18th overall pick. Maybe he is the long-term answer next to Trae Young. Don't know if he is defensively. They could look for maybe a Zaire Williams at that, or Chris Duarte. So I'm still going to have them select Cam Thomas, though, with the 18th overall pick. So the Thunder get the Miami Heat's pick here. They could end up with 3 first-round picks. We don't know, because it all depends on if that Rockets pick is in the top 4 or not. And I like them going Kai Jones, who's kind of a center, and they don't really have that long-term center. They already have their guys at the 4 with Baisley and Alexis Bukazevsky, and they can maybe go with that guy in Kai Jones, the big man out of Texas there, with the 19th overall pick. Lakers at 20. Wow, the Lakers are currently at 20. That is kind of absurd. That really is. I don't think they're going to find their next LeBron James replacement here, but I think there's like couple routes they could go. Dennis Schroeder turned down a contract extension. He could be gone. They kind of need to get their next point guard for the future, and I like Sharif Cooper a lot for them at 20. But like, they could have multiple options here. Trey Mann, Cooper, Dosunmu, Jared Butler, Jaden Springer. They can't go wrong with any of those options. I like Sharif Cooper to the Lakers, though, at 20. The Knicks, another team that I think could use a point guard, and they might go after Lonzo Ball in free agency. Derrick Rose will be a free agent. I could see him coming back to the Knicks on like a 1-year deal. Elfrid Payton's most likely gone. Emmanuel Quickley's more of an off-ball player. And I'm going to have the Knicks select Trey Mann, the sophomore out of Florida, to just kind of compete for that starting point guard role next year, because the Knicks kind of like, or I feel like they like to view Derrick Rose more of as an off-the-bench spark type of guy, and he's been playing a lot better for them as of late, and I think like the Thibodeau connection is there, and he's going to come back on a 1 to 2 year deal for them next year. So the Rockets, with their second pick in the draft from the Robert Covington trade, they already kind of went point guard with Cade Cunningham. They already have another one in John Wall, so I don't think they take one of those guys there. They could look for shooting or a high upside play in Zaire Williams. I also like Marcus Bagley for them. Even Greg Brown is a higher upside player, but I think I'm a huge fan of Chris Duarte there at 25 out of Oregon. He's a senior there and can provide them just some experience they need. Like, yeah, they're probably going to be bad again next year, but you know what? Just get some, like, leadership in there in that locker room. A little bit of an older guy. You don't have to draft all 18 and 19-year-olds. And I think Chris Duarte will also be another draft riser come draft time. So the Knicks have another first-round pick from the Dallas Mavericks, and I think, like, Greg Brown is there, but they got Obi. Randall's going to be back next year no matter what. I like Ayo is another playmaker, but somebody with high upside potential down the line that could benefit from being in the G League, and around some more experienced NBA players, like if they bring back Alec Burks or Reggie Bullock and Derrick Rose, is Zaire Williams. Somebody that is, I don't think, ready right away whatsoever, but he's 6'8". He could play the 3. He could play possibly the 4. And if he can develop a jump shot in the NBA, he will be very valuable. So I have the Knicks using their second first-round pick on Zaire Williams, adding with Trey Mann in this class. So that's kind of the draft, how it's been so far, if you maybe missed your favorite team's pick. So let's go here to pick 24, where the Rockets pick again from the PJ Tucker trade, where I believe they get their first round pick, and then the Bucks get the Rockets second round pick, or something like that. They won't be too far apart, depending on where the Bucks end up finishing in the end of the season. And I like Greg Brown a little bit for the Rockets. He's somebody that was getting so much draft hype when he was a freshman coming in out of Texas. Like, he was somebody that was supposed to go in the top 10. He didn't really play all that well out of Texas this year, but the potential is there. The upside is there. The Rockets are going to be bad next year. They could use some more bigs now that, like, DeMarcus Cousins is gone. It's really just Christian Wood at the moment. Jae'Sean Tate really wouldn't classify him as a big, so they can go Greg Brown, the freshman there. Maybe they like Charles Bassey instead, and that could definitely be a viable option. So the Nuggets are here at 25, and I think they're a team, like, with Murray going down, like, they can realize that you could always have enough ball handlers and playmakers, and with Monty Morris already there, Campazzo is there. I mean, they could go Jaden Springer. I do like Ayo Dosunmu for them. I kind of forgot about Campazzo. So they could go Charles Bassey, who can kind of be, I mean, they do have Zeke Naji and Bol Bol, so maybe they wouldn't go with a big. You know what? I'm going to have them take Marcus Bagley out of Arizona State. I think it's time for him to go. And, or no, I'm going to have them go Jaden Springer. Yep, Jaden Springer is going to be my pick. Somebody that could also play the 2 as well. And with them already trading Gary Harris, they don't really have that solidified shooting guard at the current moment. And they can go out and add Jaden Springer to that team. That could maybe be that long-term answer. Because maybe they thought it was RJ Hampton. But they used him in an Aaron Gordon trade, which I loved. But on the clock here at 26 for the Nets, I think they could be a team that could look for a playmaker. Spencer Dinwiddie could be gone. Look for that guy that can handle the ball off the bench behind Kyrie Irving, and that could be Ayo Dosunmu for them. The Clippers, another team that could use a point guard with Reggie Jackson possibly done, and Rajon Rondo, we don't know, but Rondo has another year, I believe, of his contract. Reggie Jackson could be gone, so they got to get that playmaker, and I think it's Butler, Max Abmas from Oral Roberts. I like Butler a little bit better because they're a defensive gritty team, and I think he would be a great, kind of backup to Patrick Beverley to take his spot one day, because Butler's a good defender, but learn from one of the best in the league. Yeah, you can't go wrong with that. So we have 3 more picks. The Sixers here at 28. They picked up George Hill. We don't know how much longer he's going to be in the NBA for. He's got another year on his contract, but they could go for another guard off the bench. I like Max Abmas. I also like Aaron Henry a little bit. They could go for maybe the Dwight Howard replacement in Charles Bassey. Ooh, okay, so it's between Bassey and Max Abmas for me. I think I'm going to have them take Charles Bassey to maybe replace Dwight Howard down the line. And when Embiid doesn't play, they don't have to play Mike Scott as their backup center. And then we have 2 more picks here. The Suns at 29 and the Jazz at 30. I like the Suns going with the guard. Chris Paul is not going to be playing at this level forever. He's not going to be in the NBA forever. I think that they should go. I'm sorry if I'm saying I think a lot, but I'm not an analyst. I'm not in any of these front offices. I'm just saying what I believe I think they should do. So I like Max Abmas for them there with the 29th overall pick. And the Jazz, they could go guard as well here with potentially Mike Conley's getting up there in age. They don't really have that solidified backup point guard role at all, but they could just go for any bit of scoring. And I like Josh Christopher a lot, and I don't think he can ever be the 1, but I think they should use some scoring off the bench, and I'm going to have them go Josh Christopher at that. So that is my end of the 2021 regular season NBA mock draft. These standings will shift a little bit from when you guys are seeing this, but that's fine by me. Nothing too much will change. But you guys will probably get another mock draft once the playoffs are over. So drop a like if you guys do enjoy this. Here's the mock draft there, and let me know what you agree with or disagree with down below. Did you like the pick that I gave your team, or did you dislike it? And let me know either way. I love you guys. Drop a thumbs up for more mock drafts, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.